Michelle with CREST Properties. So in this crazy aggressive seller's market, it's very tempting to overprice your house. When I say overprice, what am I talking about? Well, a lot of times I get calls from people who have a general idea of what they think that their house is worth because, they've done a little tire kicking on Zillow or Realtor.com, or, they talked to somebody about what they listed their house for down the street. And while all of that is great information, it doesn't tell a true picture. So how in the world do you find out what the right price is for you to list your house? Well, number one, you list with somebody who is a qualified real estate agent, who knows what they're doing and has a great success record. So, not your cousin Billy Bob who got his license 5 minutes ago that's going to give you a killer cut on that commission, because you'll end up losing more money on the sale of your house than you'll be saving in commission by not going with a real estate agent who's been doing this a while. So basically what an agent is going to do is pull comps or comparable data for things that have sold in your neighborhood. So your actual subdivision, not the subdivision across the street, not a super similar one in the same zip code, your actual subdivision. And if there aren't enough comparable properties in that subdivision, they maybe go out a mile radius or half a mile radius to pull more data, but they're going to be looking for houses that were built around the same time as yours, have about the same size square footage, have the same amenities, does it have a pool, does it have a metal warehouse or shop outside, is it sitting on an acre or is it sitting on a quarter acre, wood floors versus carpets versus all these different things. And they're going to look at what it's selling at per square foot. So this can't be done straight across the board, right? So if you find a 1,000 square foot house, you multiply it by, $25 per square foot, which would be a super cheap house, by the way. And then get the data that way. And then same thing, you have a 3,000 square foot house and multiply it by $25 a square foot. It doesn't work that way. The larger the house, the per square foot rate goes actually down. Whereas a smaller house is going to be able to command a larger per square foot value slightly. So, but that's where their data comes from. And they basically calculate it out on a per square foot basis. And they'll get a range and say, okay, because your house is in this condition, I think that we should keep it around this range. So, there's a little bit of guessing, but not much. So that's what they're going to want to put it on the MLS at. I know a lot of my sellers ask, well, okay, I get that's what the data is supporting, but could we just go maybe $10,000 or $15,000 higher? Yeah, you could, absolutely. You can ask whatever you want. You can ask $5 million for a house that you paid $200,000 for. That's going to cut down the number of buyers, obviously, who are willing and capable of purchasing your home. So you're kind of shooting yourself in the foot. And as you get antsy and your house has been on the market for a long time, you just go lower and lower and lower with that price. And so then people get the idea of, oh, I see, Joe's house has been on the market for 60 days now. I bet he's desperate now. I can come in and give him any lowball offer. Or, hey, they've already cut the price by $50,000. I bet there's another $50,000 of wiggle room in there. They don't know your deal, but they come up with these crazy assumptions based on your activity or the decisions you're making that they can see on the MLS. So basically, you don't want anybody to smell desperation, right? Because then that makes you vulnerable, and people think that they can take advantage of you. So you want to price it right off the beginning. Don't try to play games, whatever, If anything, I actually have had success with pricing it in that range that we talked about when you pull comparable data, but at the lower end of that, because then it almost creates like a bidding war or a multiple offer situation where people are just so excited that you've priced your house so aggressively that they want to get in on it. And so then it just drives those offers up, right? Because then you let everybody know, like, hey, we're in a multiple offer situation. I'm going to need your highest and best offer on the table by Monday at 5 p.m. so we can sit down and review all offers in hand. And then people get, a little worried because they have competition and they know it. So then they say, oh yeah, how I said I was going to give you $200,000, I'll give you $210,000. And they just work against each other to bid it up. And then you end up, as the seller, getting the highest offer possible. So these are strategies that any seasoned agent is going to know. But I think that education is a huge part in making any listing successful. So a real estate agent has a fiduciary duty to take care of their clients, right? And to make sure that you are aware of what's happening every step along the way. I make sure that my clients know why I'm making the decisions. My clients are more than welcome to call me, text me, ask me questions of, I know this is the decision, and I know we discussed it earlier, and I know that I agreed, but can you just go over that with me one more time? Why are we doing this? Or why is this the right decision and this other thing over here isn't the best? And ultimately, the decision's yours. You can tell the agent what you want to happen, but please take their advice, because even if you do get a buyer who's willing to get your house under contract for maybe even $25,000 over asking, that thing still has to appraise. And the appraiser doesn't care who you are, who your mama is, who your daddy is, who you went to college with, what your mascot is, how much money you make. The appraiser does not care. So it's going to appraise what it's going to appraise for. Yes, there are ways that a seasoned real estate agent can get your appraiser to appraise it higher. I work every single one of my appraisals, and I attend the appraisals. So I actually get to meet the appraiser and establish a relationship with them, and that helps too. But if it's not worth $25,000 more, it's not going to appraise for a whole $25,000 more. So just because you find a buyer doesn't mean that it's going to appraise for that. So keep in mind, pricing is huge to being able to sell your house in a timely manner for top dollar. Make sure that you've hired a professional real estate agent who knows what the heck they're doing.